All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary, and we are going to be doing the Costa Rican culture, and I'm going to be reading off religion, culture, and death and dying.
Hello, I'm Anastasia, and I am going to be doing health and wellness and nutrition. All right, so we're going to start with health and wellness. I found this very interesting. Just like most Hispanic cultures, they do believe in a lot of spiritual healing and spiritual entities that deal with their health and wellness. So before the 20th century, that was the only way that they treated people with any kind of illness. They use like shamans and things like that, and they didn't believe in any kind of medicine or inserting anything that wasn't, spiritual. But now they have adapted more. In Costa Rica, they actually have a government like support system that's similar to the one that we have here in the Western Hemisphere. So they also use, modern medicine and believe in the same practices that we have. But traditionally, they use herbal therapies and holistic treatments. They also correlate illness as the will of God. So they think that if you're sick or if something happens, whether you live or survive, whether you die or if you get to survive, that was ordained by God. And so that's why they try to heal the spirit from the inside. Over in Costa Rica, the major causes of death are cardiovascular disease, cancer, and accidents. So it's important as the nurse that we are using teaching to prevent accidents and teaching them about screenings and safety as well. Now, in Costa Rica, there are some rare diseases and viruses: malaria, the Zika virus, dengue fever, the leptospirosis. Sorry, I looked those up. Bacteria and viruses that are not familiar to us over here in America. And so as a nurse, you just want to make sure that you're asking the clients about their beliefs and, whether they're want or accept the Western medication or not, because you don't want to start giving them something thinking you're going to treat them and they're just not. Some of them are still into very herbal, holistic treatments. And we also need to ask them about those herbal treatments because we need to make sure that it doesn't coincide with the medication that we're giving them. So we have to do a really good assessment of the history and physical to see where their understanding and knowledge lies. All right, on to nutrition. This looks very good. They're very big on variety from what I have researched. Like most Hispanic cultures, rice and beans is going to be it. But this plate here is called casado. And when you translate it, it actually means married men. So that to me says that they believe that married men have to eat this large amount of food at one time, and they try to get every food from all the pyramid groups. So you're going to have salad on there, vegetables, usually served with fruit juice, fruit, beans, rice, plantains, and some sort of protein all in this meal. And this is a very popular meal, and it's also served with tortillas and fruit juice. So a lot of sugar, some sodium. So this is going to be very important for us to teach our clients, depending on what's going on with them physiologically, where we need to cut down. But it's also important that we kind of keep these traditions. So what can we substitute and what can we take a little bit out of just to bend towards that specific client? Traditionally, for holidays, they're going to have things with a lot of sugar in them: corn pancakes, corridas, tamales, which most of us are familiar with that because a lot of people in Florida, we have a lot of tamales. And then they do this eggnog, which is called rompop, and it's sugary. So we just want to make sure that we're doing a lot of education as far as limitations when it comes to carbs and diabetes and different things like that, that ultimately can lead to even further heart disease. That's it.
All right, so for this next slide, I'm going to be covering religion and spirituality. So the most dominant religion in Costa Rica is actually Roman Catholicism, although they do also include evangelical Christian, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and Baptist. However, many actually do not attend or practice their religion. I was very surprised by this, just because Roman Catholicism is very popular too, and they have many other religions, but they don't practice them. So that was just very interesting to me as well. And on the right, this is actually one of their famous churches in Costa Rica. It's called Iglesia de Nuestra Señora de las Mercedes. And so the holidays that they would normally celebrate are Christmas and Easter, which is very popular in Catholicism. And these actually involve a lot of family gatherings. So when the family gathers together, they usually involve a lot of food, just like Anastasia was saying. Food's very important as a source of togetherness in the religion and in their culture. And with those family gatherings as well, they have big families, so they also gather around and spend time with each other in those holidays. So they also still support abortion and birth control, even though that's not it's not allowed in the Roman Catholic religion. Although a lot of middle class people in Costa Rica actually support these practices of abortion and birth control, even if it's against their religion per se. They call out to certain saints during times of stress, and that's usually when they would start praying and start calling out for help. And as a nurse, we should all be open to any religion, especially since Costa Rica has a lot of religions manifested into their country, and just certain beliefs to help them during their times of stress or when they're sick, and what they need from us and from the hospital in general, and just to make sure that we're not just passing through their religion like it's nothing. And then next is death and dying. So religion is an important part of a patient's life, and rituals may be desired when they do take their last breath. And Costa Rica has actually become a leader in Central America for palliative end of life care. And it's definitely more of a comfort measure, and they don't like to see their loved ones suffering anymore. So that's why they do use the palliative end of life care measures, which is really good in my opinion, just because if you love somebody, it's really hard to let them go, but at the same time you do also have to think about what they want and what they need. And for when their loved ones die, a funeral week is actually a very important custom, which is done the evening before the burial. So they believe that the soul actually leaves the body once it is physically deceased. And they celebrate the death by singing, praying, telling stories, and just having the family all get together and their friends and having a mass for the deceased person. And as a nurse, we should be emotionally available to the family during this time of mourning, and to accept the decision of palliative care, just because if we as a nurse don't necessarily agree with it, we should still be supporting their decision, especially since it is a part of their culture or a part of what they believe in. And of course, documenting the family's reaction and decision towards advance directives, what the patient wanted or would have wanted, and just organ donation. You should always ask the family what they think about that. And also, lastly, to accept large family groups. As I mentioned earlier, it's very important for the Costa Rican culture to be together and to be a part of each other's lives. So accepting large family groups, visiting the patient is not uncommon in their culture, especially if they are about to die. They want each other to be right there next to the deceased person, just because that's how they would have wanted it. And these are our references, and thank you.
Thank you.
Gotta figure out how to stop this.